Hello, and welcome to my Culture Meets Culture presentation, Lebanon Meets Texas. In part one, I will be giving you a brief history of Lebanon. Before it was Lebanon, it was home to many empires and many countries, including Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Crusaders, Ottoman Turks, and the French. As a result of World War I, the Ottoman Empire dismantled. And then there was the Versailles Peace Conference in 1919, where a treaty agreement gave part of the Ottoman Empire to France, and France was instructed to redraw the country lines and prepared those countries for independence. More or less the Ottoman Empire. They won and lost land throughout the years, but this gives you more or less an idea of what, and part of it was the land that ended up becoming Lebanon, and Lebanon is right here. Okay, the French redrew the lines with little attention to national consciousness, meaning there was different groups with different values, with different religions, with different political views, and they were kind of all crammed together in the same area. And when they redrew the country lines, they didn't take this really into consideration. They kind of just drew them um, a way that was beneficial for them and not necessarily beneficial for the people that were living there. And now Lebanon was a little bit of an exception because half the population at the time was Christian. In Lebanon, there was a clear association with a Christian communion and the Roman Catholic Church in Europe. Now, this goes back to how many people occupied them at one point, and so there's influence from every empire that's ever occupied this area, and also just influence from where they're situated in the world, which you'll see in the next few slides. Now, this is a country of Lebanon. The capital is Beirut, which I can't find on this map, but it's there. Now this is kind of zooming out. Now this is looking at Lebanon from the Middle East perspective because these are Middle Eastern countries, and Lebanon is right here. And as you can see, it's right next to Syria and Jordan, and it's small and in the middle of a lot of other Middle Eastern countries, which again plays into the influence that these countries have on Lebanon. Now this is zooming out even more now that you can kind of see it where it is in respect to the rest of the world, and again it's somewhere in this area. And here you can kind of see how it's also in the middle of not only the Middle East, but it also is in the middle of Africa, Europe, and it is a part of the Asian continent. This is where it is in respect to its Asian continent, and again, it's somewhere over here in this area. And so it's really all on the outside of Asia. Again, plays into the influence that these other countries have. See how it's on the edge and how it can be easily influenced by Africa, which is right there, and easily influenced by Europe, which is right above it. Lebanon became an independent republic in 1943. And this is when the conflicting nationalities, when the conflict started to rise, because now they were being forced to work together, and there was many religious persecutions which caused many people to flee the country in fear of being persecuted for their religion, and also in fear of having to serve in the Turkish army. We'll see this later in the Texas influence because some of them will go to Texas. Now, this is just a brief timeline of events that have happened in Lebanon. In 1975, there was a civil war that broke out, and Syrian forces enter Lebanon. Israel invades. The Shiite militant group is created. Israel invades again, and then there's a truck bomb that destroys a U.S. embassy in Beirut. 1989, because of the unrest in Lebanon, Syria was put in charge of Lebanese affairs. Then in 1990, civil war ends with over 100,000 deaths. Israel troops withdraw, and the UN calls for the remaining troops within Lebanon to also withdraw. And then in 2005, an anti-Syrian prime minister is assassinated by a car bomb. This is important because this causes rallies to outbreak in favor of Syrian occupation and in favor of Syrians leaving Lebanon. The group in favor of Syria leaving Lebanon ends up, I guess you can say, winning, because Syrian troops do withdraw from Lebanon. In part 2, I will be discussing current events that are happening in Lebanon. What's happening right now in Lebanon can reflect what's happening in the Middle East in general. And right now, we know that there's a lot of civil unrest in Syria, and this is having an impact on Lebanon because Lebanon has an open border policy, and they receive a great total of Syrian refugees. More than a quarter of the population in Lebanon is Syrian refugees. The refugees are living off $13 per person per month per food, and as you can imagine, that's very little. And it's been years since the civil unrest started in Syria, and now that the people are kind of seeing that they can't go back to Syria, then now they're thinking more long term. So a lot of them want to leave Lebanon and go to other places that have better opportunity and maybe more resources to take them in, because Lebanon is such a small country and they don't have the ability to take in all of these refugees. And the next slide, I'm going to show a video from Vox that explains a little bit, well, it goes into detail about what's going on. I'll only play a little bit of the video because it is kind of long, and I just want to show how complicated it is and how there's conflicting alliances. It's just kind of a spider web of allies and people who don't like each other, or groups of people who don't like each other.
Syria's war is a mess. After 4 years, the conflict is divided between 4 different sides on the ground. Each side has different foreign backers, and those foreign backers don't even agree with one another about who they're fighting for or who they're fighting against. To understand all this, the crisscrossing interventions, the moving battle lines, it helps to go back to the beginning of the war and watch how it unfolded.
The first shots in
Syria's war are fired in March of 2011 by Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad once peaceful Arab Spring demonstrations.
In July, some of the protesters start shooting back,
and some Syrian troops even defect from Assad's army to join them. They call themselves the Free Syrian Army, and the uprising becomes a civil war.
Extremists from
Syria and from around the region start traveling to join the rebels. Assad actually encourages this by releasing jihadist prisoners to tinge the rebellion with extremism, make it harder for foreigners to back them. In January of 2012, Al-Qaeda forms its new branch in Syria called Jabhat al-Nusra. Also around then, Syrian Kurdish groups who've long sought autonomy take up arms and de facto secede from Assad's rule. That summer is when Syria becomes a proxy war. Iran, which is Assad's most important ally, intervenes on his behalf. By the end of 2012, Iran is sending daily cargo flights with hundreds of officers on the ground. At the same time, the oil-rich Arab states on the Persian Gulf began sending money and weapons to the rebels, mainly to counter Iran's influence and mainly through Turkey. Iran steps up its influence in turn in mid-2012 when Hezbollah, which is a Lebanese Shia group backed by Iran, invades to fight alongside Assad. The Gulf states respond by sending even more money and weapons to rebels, Saudi Arabia really leading the effort at this point, and this time going a lot through Jordan, who also opposes Assad. And by 2013, the Middle East is divided between generally Sunni powers on one side supporting the rebels and Shias on the other side supporting Assad. That April, the Obama administration, horrified by Assad's atrocities, sends a secret order authorizing the CIA to train and equip Syrian rebels. The program stalls out at first. At the same time, the U.S. quietly urges the Arab Gulf states to stop funding extremists, but their requests go ignored. In August, Assad uses chemical weapons against...
The next video I'm going to show is the impact this has had on Lebanon. The next video is from ABC News.
When you see the danger hundreds of thousands have faced, you might wonder, parents risk it all with their children? Well, they told me that Syria is simply far more dangerous. Our chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran, has been on this story He's on the Syrian border tonight with the newest wave of refugees set to make their way. Terry?
David, there are more than a million Syrian refugees in Lebanon, and today we came to the camps where so many of them live, and we saw why so many of them are now leaving. We drive an hour outside Beirut, down back roads, out amid fields of beans, we find the camp. For so many children, this is the only home they have ever known. People here build their homes out of whatever they can find. Wooden boxes and crates. You see tarps, some of them provided by the United Nations. A screen here, cardboard boxes. We pay a visit to Abu Ali. He's lived here for 4 years. What did you think when you left? That you would go back soon? We thought all this crisis would last 4 or 5 months, and we'd go home, he says. But here, his wife picks beans for about $7 a day. I would die 10,000 deaths for my children. Abu Ali, father of six, is now prepared to take his family on that dangerous journey to Europe in a few days. I must get out of here, he says, anyway, even the sea, even if it means death. By one estimate, 3,000 Syrians are leaving Lebanon every day, almost as if all at once they decided there's no going home again, only the hope of a better future, especially for the children.
Terry Moran with us from the Syrian border tonight. Terry, thank you. And by the way, Germany has taken in more than any other country when it comes to refugees, bracing for 800,000 asylum seekers just this year. And in Washington, growing debate over what the U.S. should do. Tonight, the White House now saying we will in fact take in 10,000 Syrian refugees in the next year. Let's get right to our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, who joins me from Washington tonight. Because Martha, until now, just 1,500 Syrian refugees in the U.S. after 4 years of war.
That's right, David. One of the reasons is the extensive vetting process, which can take up to 2 years. But there is concern today from members of Congress that ISIS will take advantage of this refugee crisis and send operatives into America via what one member has called a jihadi pipeline. The White House insisted today that the most robust security process will be used for this next group of refugees. Hard to see how they can get 10,000 vetted in the next year, David.
Martha Raddatz with us from Washington tonight. Martha, thank
you. Now, he talked about how this refugee camp was just outside of Beirut. This is Beirut, and you can kind of see how that is a huge difference from those refugee camps. As you can see, Beirut, it looks like a very built up and modernized city, and right outside this is the refugee camps. Now, this is not saying that the Lebanese don't care about the Syrian refugees, but as you saw, Lebanon is a very small country in respect to Syria, so it just doesn't have the manpower to take in all of these refugees. And a lot of the refugees, like I think the video explained I'm trying to go to Germany and Europe and also America. Part 3, I will be discussing pop culture in Lebanon. This piece of artwork I found on an Arab website, and I'm not really sure what it is because the description and the whole article was in Arabic. But what I got from it was that this was a really cool piece that people are talking about. And I can kind of see why, because I can see, well, first of all, it looks very modern. It looks like a very modern piece of artwork, but you can see the Arabic influence and like the squiggles. It kind of looks like how their language is written almost. And it's kind of stylized, like how a lot of Middle Eastern things are stylized, I think. Again, I'm not really an art person, but it just looks cool to me. This is a book published by a very popular Lebanese author. She is very against the grain. In her book, she talks a lot about what people expect of her because she's a Middle Eastern woman and what she is not because she is a Middle Eastern woman. And she talks a lot about how people have this stereotype of Middle Eastern women being very covered up, not wearing short sleeve shirts, not showing their face, being submissive to men, not driving cars, etc. And she talks about how not every Middle Eastern woman is like that. Yes, those women do exist, but she's saying that they're not all like that, and she basically just wants to go against the stereotype. The next video is of a artist. She is a more traditional artist. Again, when I was watching these videos, I was kind of looking for the influence of the surrounding Middle Eastern cultures as well as surrounding Asian cultures and European cultures and Western and African and etc. So I want to say her name is pronounced Feiruz. I'm not very sure though. The next video is a little bit more modern. Again, I was looking out for the influences, and I would just pay attention to the architecture, the instruments that are playing, the type of song she's singing, and I also looked at the clothes that they're all wearing also. next video, I don't want to give too much away, but in the next video, you can definitely see the influence of the Western culture. I had no idea a video like this existed, and when I found it, I was so shocked, and I wanted to send it to all my friends because I just didn't know. You'll see what I mean when I play it.
سوشك الله يرحم الله يرحم. مجنونة دي ولا ايه؟ حبيبي تامر حبيب قلبي. اتفضل يا معلمي. اتفضل يا معلمي. دلوقتي حالا. طالع لك انا. حاضر ماشي. اقعد يا سنوب حبيبي. اقعد يا سنوب حبيبي. بيتك ومطرحك. انت مجنونه ولا فوتنا ولا ايه بالظبط؟ ينفع تعلي صوتك كده؟ ينفع تعلي صوتك كده قدام الراجل؟
قلت لك نظام السيد ده مش السيد ده مش عليا.
Yeah, Tama, Hero, Big Snoop Dogg. Yeah, check this out. It's only one man in the house, baby, and he wears the pants. So dance, dance to the rhythm we set for.
Yo, Snoop.
Yeah,
Welcome to our world.
nephew, go ahead.
You can kind of see how the video played into the Western culture and the Lebanese culture, bringing both of them together. The next video I thought was really interesting when I thought about the critical approach to pop culture, because the video is sponsored by Samsung, and I know that in Asia Samsung is a really big company. I think on the Korean stock market it is the highest, if not one of the highest. And I think it's interesting because companies really do play a big part in what is pop culture. And here in the United States, it almost seems like Apple iPhones are in every single music video. And it's interesting to see how in this one it is Samsung. And Samsung is a big company in Asia.
الغرام المستحيل. ما أصعبها نهاية غرامك تكتبها بإيدك وروحك تعذبها وما يكون عندك حل. ما أصعبها تكون النهاية شايفها وما
انك قادر توقفها ومجبور انه تفل انه.
Now, in this last part, I will be discussing the Lebanese influence in Texas. The exact number of early immigrants coming to Texas is a little bit unknown because, like I said earlier, before 1920, Lebanon, or the area of Lebanon, was occupied by other nations. So before that point, any people coming in were simply listed as Turkish. Just a fun fact, they came with 33 camels and brought more later, which is, I mean, I don't think camels are, or they're not natural to Texas, so if there's any here, it likely came from here. Many peddled notions and small household necessities from farm to village until they could buy a general mercantile store and bring over other members of their family. Most of the early settlers were Christian. Again, this is because of the religious persecution that was going on during the time. Later in the 20th century, there's going to be mainly Muslim immigrants coming in, but at this time, they were mostly Christian, if not all Christian. The Lebanese populations are concentrated in Beaumont, El Paso, Austin, and Houston. Some pictures of the Lebanese pack peddlers. As you can see, some of the pictures showing them like carrying this stuff from farm to village. You can see in one picture where his family is already brought over, and the other you see a wagon and kind of their everyday attire. Now I'll be discussing their cultural ways that have carried over here in Texas. There are many gatherings that are held in family homes, clubs, or churches and include dances such as the circle dance or the belly dance, which is not actually called the belly dance. It might be called the Oriental dance. I'd be interested to know what it's called in Arabic and what it literally translates to, if it does even literally translate. I kind of tried looking for it but didn't find anything. The food that they'll eat at these events are lamb shish kebabs, pickled turnips, hummus, pita bread, baklava, date cookies, etc. And they also have Arabic costumes and Arabic music. Since a lot of the population is concentrated in Houston, that's where a lot of these communities are popular and a lot of these gatherings are held. There is also very popular rug merchants, and this comes from the Middle Eastern culture because these rug carpets are very popular. If you think about, I hate to use this example, but Aladdin, the magic carpet, he's Middle Eastern, and kind of makes sense. And in Houston, there's the Oriental Rug Study Society, and they also have like big trading events where they trade rugs and sell rugs. And this is just a picture of what that might look like. There's also a lot of established churches from the Lebanese culture due to the fact that they were escaping religious persecution. It only makes sense that they would leave where they're being persecuted and come here and have the religion that they couldn't have over there. The first Orthodox Church opened in El Paso in 1919, the first Syrian Orthodox Church, I should clarify. And then in 1925, St. George Maronite Catholic Church opened in San Antonio. Then in 1932, the St. Elias Orthodox Church in Austin opened. The picture on the left is the church in San Antonio, and the picture on the right is the church in El Paso. These are just some of the artifacts that were in the Institute of Texas Cultures. These are just some of the scriptures found in these churches. These are, again, some of the artifacts. You have some crosses, and some tablecloths, some candles, the chalice to hold the Eucharist, and there's the bell, and things to hold incense and such things like that. Here are some of the scriptures in Arabic. And these are just two of the many events in Texas celebrating Lebanese culture. The churches that I listed earlier, and of course many of the other churches, also hold events that churches are popular for holding events, and then of course with the Lebanese culture it's no different. These are these are all of the videos that are used in this presentation. All the websites that I used to gather information, and a lot of the information I gathered also was from the Institute of Texas Cultures. Thank you for watching. My name is Marissa Kachikos, and this has been my Culture Meets Culture presentation.